Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but we, you, on one of our calls, when you were talking about the lower world, you're like, okay, we're going to do this lower world. And it didn't work out for whatever reason during our call for us to actually do that journey. And I was like, okay, I'll just do it on my own. But it was like I didn't really want you to be there with me because I was worried about what was going to happen. And it manifested where it didn't work out. And every time we tried to do that together, it just didn't work out. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. I don't even know if you probably didn't even realize that was happening, but that's what was going on in my space. And so finally, and this was when we were exploring our inner child. And so when I went and did this, it was very much so like I needed it to be my personal thing because I was so worried about what I was going to experience. And so you showed me like we walked into the tree, or you like showed me how you would go down into the lower world. And I remember going into my meadow, walking over to my tree, and I just placed my hand on the tree trunk. And it was like all of a sudden,
A
it was
door.
almost like this keypad where it was like it opened up this door, but it was only my handprint, only my spirit's essence that could open up the door. So no one else was allowed into that space unless I invited them in. So I started walking down it was like a
That
spiraling
staircase.
staircase going into like, it was like off on the left. I could walk off and it was like this hallway, but the staircase kept going. So I went off into the staircase, off of the staircase to the left, and I was just walking, and it was like all of this. It's so interesting. I'm like being drawn there right now, but it was like the ground was really soft. It was really cold. It was just like kind of like this wet dirt. And as I kept
Cave, yeah.
walking, I could see on the walls, it was like all these spirals, which every time I do a session, I write on my paper these specific things. And it was like I could see those on the walls as I was walking. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I walk into my space, and this isn't as common for people, I feel like, but the first time that I went in, it was a mini golf course. And my little girl, Jenny, was there holding this little pink rod and this pink ball, just like waiting for me to come and play freaking mini golf with her.
Yep. Hmm.
And I hated mini golf when I was little. I just thought it was so boring, but it was so beautiful because we went and we played mini golf, and we looked at the fun things that were there on the mini golf course. But I could just get and be with her, and it didn't have to be one way or it didn't have to be another. And I didn't even do any heavy shadow work with her. I just played mini golf. And at the end, I gave her a big hug and I said, I just loved you. This was so much fun to spend time with you. And she was like, please come back. And so then when I went back the next time, I opened up the door and I was in this such a magical forest. And when I was little, I used to talk to fairies. Fairies were my jam. They were everywhere. So I walked in and it was like these bright, vibrant neon colors. These flowers were like these bright colors that
Hmm.
you've never even seen here.
Yes.
And there were like these little fairies flying all around and all these different things. And it was like a very fun and a very imaginative space, but it felt like I was home. It felt like
Yeah.
this is what I experienced as a child. And my little girl was there and she's like, hi. And she wanted me to go with her. And we went into this little river. We played in this river, and it was just very playful and it was very fun. And I said, hey, is there anything you want to talk to me about? And I just remember her busting into tears and was like, I just feel like no one loves me. Like, no one cares about me. And so then I sat with her and we explored that and we talked about that. But that's this lesson, or this thought that I carry with me a lot, is if people don't love me, if people don't accept me, they don't love me. And if I'm not loved, then what's my worth? And of course, we know with all that we do, and even coming out and talking about all these different things that we're learning in shamanism and this multidimensional self, is it's very vulnerable.
Yes.
And it can be easy to fall into that space of if someone hears this and they don't accept it, they don't accept me, and then I'm not loved. And so I could sit with her and be with her and cultivate that. And it was just so beautiful. And it wasn't heavy, it wasn't dark, but it was very healing in a way that was very joyful and childlike and fun. It was
Yes.
beautiful.
And you notice that not only was it not scary, it was beautiful.
It's almost comical that I was like, I don't even want Candace in my energy to go there.
Right. But it makes sense though,
Yeah.
considering what she told you.
Yeah, that's true.
Considering what she told you. And so I just think that it's such a beautiful experience because it really reconnects you back into your purity, your innocence,